Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dynasty in 30. I am your host this week, Tim Holstad. Will, unfortunately, has a migraine that he's dealing with, so he is going to take the week off. But I have a special guest with me, and today we're going to do a 2026 Superflex Dynasty Startup Mock Draft. So, without further ado, let's get right into it.
You're watching Dynasty in 30, only on Fantasy Now Plus.
What is up, everyone? As you can see with me this week, we have the wonderful Josh, who was ready and able to step in for us, help us get through this Dynasty mock draft and talk some Dynasty. How are you doing, Josh?
Man, I am doing great on this wonderful, hot, sunny Florida day. Where did the cold go? I don't know. It's almost Thanksgiving and it's almost 100 degrees outside. I've had enough. But I've made some free time to join the show. I've always wanted to. I joke with the bosses that be in the back. I'm lucky enough to be in a group chat with the boss, Justin himself, with John, the other boss. And I'm like, guys, one day I'm gonna crash this show. Because I go live at 5 p.m. on the Fins Talk Sports Network, who also we're live on right now as well, or maybe Fins Extra, Fins Talk Extra, one of the two you're watching right now. So I'm like, I gotta jump on, just like do a cameo, surprise the guys, and then hop out. But I never do because I'm always researching my wrestling stuff. But yeah, I'm happy to be a part of the show, man. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. Well, folks, we linked the mock draft in the chat. So if you want to hop in, we'll give you another minute or two to join up and grab a spot. As a reminder, it will be Superflex. It's going to be short. We're going to try and actually live up to the name of Dynasty in 30 this time, since Josh does have a hard out. So we are going to just do 6 rounds, not really focused on depth or trades or anything. It's a little complicated to worry about rookie picks at this point. You and I might just kind of shout out where we might think about taking the 101 in 2026, but I'm not going to worry about having kickers or anything like that with this shorter setup. So
yeah, I'm interested because I've been doing Dynasty since 2013. 2013 was my first year ever. I took over an orphan. Someone's like, "Hey man, the draft's at Friday 8 a.m." So I tell my boss, I don't know why or how we're having our draft at 8 a.m. on a Friday, but I just got to be off. And it was my fantasy league, and it was a slow, obviously no timer, slow draft. I'm like sitting there. I'm pick 102, mind you, sitting there going, "Why is this guy not? It's been 2 hours. What's going on?" Not knowing anything about Dynasty whatsoever. I wanted Monty Ball. It was not a Superflex at the time. 2013 was Superflex wasn't very popular. I wanted Monty Ball so bad.
Yeah,
he got picked 101. I got stuck with Le'Veon Bell. The person after me got stuck with Giovanni Bernard. Guess who won the pony, guys? Guess who won multiple championships moving forward? That's how it can go in snakes. Like, I wanted the guy at the top. Giovanni was the cooler pick, and I ended up with the boring Le'Veon Bell. Like, that's kind of how that year went. So what was your first year like, just in the whole experience?
I started Dynasty back in, I want to say 2016. Just kind of a free sleeper league with someone. I've always watched fantasy content, but had never really gotten into it for the first year. So tried it out, took over an orphan, didn't start out with a startup mock. It was probably the worst team I've ever seen in my life. It had third string tight ends that I was starting, bench wide receivers. It was awful. And I've kind of built that team up for the last 9 years, pretty much, where it's basically contending every year, has a bunch of picks, has a bunch of studs. So just the act of building has definitely helped me stick with Dynasty and really helped me to want to keep playing and keep joining leagues. I'm in way too many leagues. I'm in 40 Dynasty leagues, so
Yep.
Yeah.
It's difficult, right, to manage all those, but it's kind of not at the same time because like I know one of my leagues, it's Justin's league, and I know I'm good. I don't need to worry too much. No, there's not much maintenance about that team. Kind of like runs it itself, like a stock. It just runs itself. It makes its own money every year, year in, year out. Then there's the problem teams that you win the championships in, and all your players are getting older. Now you're like, okay, I got to work. It's a lot of managing time and rosters and remembering who's on what team because I'm in too many leagues as well. And as you know, you probably forget some things. That could be a detriment, but that being said, it's addicting.
Absolutely. Alrighty, folks. If anyone wants to hop in last second, we still have, I think, 8 spots left in this Dynasty mock. We'll give everyone about 30 seconds, and then we will jump into it.
Yes, and before we start, Tim, I told my higher power, my legal counsel, that I was coming on the show today, and like, oh, what's the topic? Oh, it's mock draft, right? Way too early mock draft. So they gave me this thing to read. I have to read it to protect my brand, my identity. So I have to read it. All right.
Alrighty.
From my legal counsel. I do not, under any circumstances, endorse snake drafts in dynasty leagues. Not today, not tomorrow, not in this lifetime or the next. Snake drafts in dynasty are like bringing a spoon to a sword fight. Embarrassing for everybody involved. The only acceptable format for a true dynasty league, the one handed down from the fantasy gods themselves, is the auction draft. And everything is chaos, anarchy, and frankly, it's the most fun you'll have. So with that said, this entire exercise is for entertainment purposes only. That's it. Do not attempt this at home. Do not cite this mock in a draft for an argument. And do not use this as evidence in any league chats. We may begin.
Alrighty, folks. We are going to go ahead and kick it off.
Can I sing a song?
I'm not really sure.
We have a request to sing a song. I can sing many songs.
If you would like, by all means.
I get a voice of an angel. Not really though. So, Yubi in the chat says, "Had no clue about Superflex, so have fun." That's the beautiful thing about these mocks these early is because you can get you going on and what's happening. You take a quarterback early. You see Brock's gem. Brian himself takes quarterback way too early. Is that your situation as well?
If it's at that side of the board, that's where I go. But on the back half, I'm curious how things are going to play out. You've got 10 seconds left.
Oh shoot, I'm on the clock. I guess I would. That's not who I would take, but that's the position I would take. I was searching for somebody else, but it's okay. I would have taken someone way differently, but that's the position I'm going to take. And I'm going to wrap around and take the guy I would take first because he's not going to be taken.
That's fair. I'm going to go double wide receiver.
That's exactly my strategy as well. I always build through the wide receiver position because they last the longest. And this has been my guy since day one, since his rookie season. I've always believed, and I value him as a first round pick.
Yeah, I considered him. Puka is still ahead of him in the ranks for me, and then he and CD are back to back. And I like JSN a lot. I think he has gone into that upper echelon, but also I know that CeeDee Lamb will stay in that upper echelon, and there is that like 1% chance that JSN doesn't. So that's the only reason I went CD over JSN.
It makes sense. UB in the chat asked, don't quarterbacks go early and often in Superflex?
Yeah.
Generally they do because they hold the most value, and the elite ones are really different from. If you look at your points per game average just from this year alone, you can tell the elite quarterbacks from the mid tier they drop off.
Yep,
so that's why people want to get them early.
Yeah, my tier cuts off right after Drake May. Personally, I think there's an argument for Mahomes, but more or less everyone after that point is kind of the same, and you're going to get a good year out of them sometimes and a bad year out of them sometimes, and you're never really going to know one way or the other. So,
Yep. So now that I did land my two running or receivers, I am now sitting here going, well, what's the format? Usually my leagues are 3 receivers. So that's when I go, okay, my other favorite wide receiver is here, and he actually is. I've been saying he's a superstar on this channel since day one. He is a legit superstar, and getting him this late is an indictment on his year this year. But people draft based off that. Once he gets a regular quarterback next year, he's going to be a superstar.
Yep.
He took my guy.
Yeah. Well, I got sniped by Team 11. I couldn't believe Taylor had fallen that far.
I didn't think you would take Rice, honestly. That's good, though. That's a great pick. That's a steal.
Man, it is dried up fast here.
That is a steal.
I'm going to take Baker.
Baker is a great pick, too. Yep. Okay. So now that my wide receivers are filled, no, I'm still avoiding quarterback. They're a dime a dozen. I can find them anywhere. That's how I've always looked at them. So I'm going to go my favorite youngish running back. Of course, he can Studkins. Great situation.
Over Travion?
I prefer him over Trevion. But wait till Ramondre comes back this week, and we're going to see how they feel about him.
Yeah, I do not expect anything smart from the Patriots coaching staff, but
no.
we'll see if Mike Vrabel can pull his head out of his tuchus.
They didn't play any games in Cleveland. Once Judkins was there, once he arrived, he was the guy. There was no, let's give Ford meaningless touches. Let's give Sampson meaningless. No, it was just set in stone. Yep. Whereas even when Ramondre was out, they're like, let's get this this practice squad guy 11 carries.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on. Yeah, I would have taken Rice. You know I love Rice.
Yeah. It's hard to be the screen sharer because I cannot queue up anyone I'm looking at.
It's hard for me to actually go. I'm not used to drafting on a computer, so I don't know how to sort these out by position. But it's all good.
Well, I put it as all Superflex in this one just so that we weren't. Sleeper likes to just like contain you. So if I did 6 rounds with a position, then you could only take 1 at each position, and I didn't think that was really a accurate representation of what a mock would actually look like.
What's going on, Jamie? I'm not always right, but I'm usually right.
And you're on.
I can't believe Cam Ward's ADP is that high. That's just ridiculous to me.
I know, we were taking him so high.
That's so dumb. I'm losing my. Yeah, I'm gonna get auto picked. I took Cam Ward. That's not who I would have taken, but I can't believe he was that high. That's
fair.
Unreal.
I'm gonna go Jackson Dart.
He's a way better pick, yeah.
And
can I maximize this?
Let's see.
Oh, that's how you do it. Where did Emeka go? I don't think he did taken yet.
He went to.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, man, these picks are gross. I'm gonna go Pickens. I think he's kind of elevated himself up into the 2nd, 3rd tier of wide receivers in Dynasty.
Oh yeah, for sure. There was a question mark on if he was going to continue to be awesome when CD came back, and he's continued to be even as awesome.
Yeah.
So he's definitely a young person that I wish I didn't trade away. In many leagues I did. Unfortunately. Now that we have time to discuss before we look at this draft, what's the biggest regret trade you've ever made in your life? I have to ask you.
It was actually recent. 4 class. Whatever the Drake May class was, 4, I think. I'm already losing track of time. I basically made all the wrong selections in one of my leagues where I had like 6 first-round picks, and all these trades I made, like trading really valuable assets to go and get these. Let me get rid of that real quick so we can see the board. Okay. Made a lot of trades, like I think I traded CD for a couple firsts and a second that year. I traded Mahomes for a couple firsts that year. And then, I could have ended up with Jaden Daniels and Drake May and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. And instead I ended up with Caleb Williams, which was not as bad now as it was last year, but still not Jaden Daniels or Drake May. Like I ended up with, and I skipped Brock Bowers because why would you take a tight end early? But, I ended up with Bo Nix and Michael Penix because I'm like, they're all the same. You can't really evaluate them all right now. Let's take the back end of this quarterback tier. And then, like, instead of taking BTJ or Lad McConkey or anyone, I was like, let's take Keon Coleman. That's a great offense. Let's take Xavier Worthy. That's a great offense. So I could have come away from that draft basically like running the league, and instead I whiffed on almost all of my picks.
And that's a lesson about picks. They don't always hit, and people value them crazy high most of the time.
Yep.
Jamie says he traded Chase Brown away before his breakout for an early third.
Oof.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Been there, brother. Been there. Let's break down this draft. So if there was real people throughout the entire team, I was expecting something to happen and it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Can I tell you what I was expected to happen?
Absolutely.
I expected Drake May to be picked within the first 5 picks. That's been the trend for the past 4 years. Is the new upstart, Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud. They always hurdle the known Joe Burrows and known Lamar Jacksons at sometimes. And you're going, what are we doing here? Justin Fields was in that case when he had that 6-game run.
Yeah.
Do you follow trends like that, or you try to stay away from that?
I have always been a Drake May believer, even last year. So I do value him highly. He's my QB6 in Dynasty, but he is not in the tier of 1 through 4. Because I have Joe Burrow at 5, and I don't have him in the same tier as the 4. The 4 didn't go 4 in a row in this draft because Lamar and Hurts went after Burrow like way down, like randomly. But I usually have it Allen, Lamar, Daniels, and Hurts in some order, depending on what touchdown scoring you have. And then I have a huge break to Burrow and May, and then I have Mahomes at 7. So he would have been in consideration at 12 if this had gone a little more normally, I think, if there had been less bots going off of last year's ADP. But because so many elite wide receivers fell, I just had to take them instead of May.
Yeah, that tracks. What stands out to you as in take my team away? My team's by far the worst team. I drafted Cam Ward and I drafted Malik Neighbors, and I don't like Malik Neighbors as much.
Really?
Yeah, I do like him. I like his future. I didn't like him as much as everybody. I didn't like his price. I think he cost too much. I thought he cost way too much. There was more efficient receivers I can get cheaper. And honestly, I didn't think Neighbors could demand 15 to 18 targets a game, which those were his biggest games. That was what it came down to.
Yeah.
Now that with Jackson Dart's there, though, everything is now I've seen he's good. I do think that Malik Neighbors can end up in that same tier. Like I have Rashee Rice over Malik Neighbors. Easy.
For sure.
Easily to me.
Okay.
But anyway, best team in this draft right here.
Let's see. I mean, Team 8, I don't want to butcher how to say that, Jerswu or JRSW. JR. He definitely drafted off of ranks, and it shows, and those are definitely great players to take. definitely taking advantage of the board, which is what you should do whenever you get a bot or someone who's new to Dynasty, doesn't fully understand the mode, or they're going to load up on running backs early, or they load up on quarterbacks early. Like, navigating that draft is definitely something that I really like. I think McMillan could be second tier wide receiver next year by the end of it. Just we'll see how he progresses. We'll see if Bryce Young remains the quarterback and remains pumpkin. But that's kind of, from a talent perspective, he has flashed everything that I needed him to flash for me to feel confident about his talent. And then same with Igbuka. Again, he went too low because of previous ADP. I would have Igbuka kind of in a similar range to Lad McConkey, Marvin Harrison, Drake London, I think. Probably even higher than that. Yes, he's been a little touchdown dependent, but he's good. You can't just accidentally be a number one and score touchdowns. Like, wide receiver is not a position of opportunity. It still takes skill. So I really like his draft for sure. I think it's a very representative of how I would also kind of look to build a dynasty roster.
Right on. Got a chat, a comment. Neighbors, he or she must have not been here at the start. Neighbors too high. Nakua, Lamb, and Rice too low for me. Would rather have Rice over Marvin Harrison Jr. and Wilson every day of the week. Yes, I was auto drafted Malik Neighbors, and I did say I would have taken JS in there. And I did say that, listen, sometimes you got to play, and that's why snake drafts are so funny to me, because you have to play the ADP game.
Yeah.
Going, is Tim going to take Rice? Like, is he going to fall? That's why in auctions, you just go get whoever you want. Just, that's who you want. We all have the same money. Go get who you want. So in these, you do have to play these kind of games. So let me ask you a trade question.
Mm-hmm.
When is it time? Because I don't do this. I don't trade during snakes. I think I'm not going to give up my assets to do this. I'll wait. When do you feel it's right to give up an asset to get your guy top 3 rounds because you want a top 100, whatever it may be? When do you think it's right to trade?
I used to be in the opposite camp of always trade back, always accumulate assets, always accumulate depth. And then this year, but honestly, especially last week, Will and I kind of looked at the Dynasty class so far, Dynasty trends, how the positions are scoring, how they've trended in scoring. And it just kind of became more and more obvious to me that, like, there's 8 to 12 players any given fantasy season that, like, actually matters. And everyone else is just a 50-50 coin flip on if they're giving you 5 or 15 in a week. And so I think if you feel confidently about who those 8 to 12 players are going to be, or, these elite wide receivers, not even the second tier, because, that gave you Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. and Nico Collins, but like the top tier, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, like these guys you should always try and get. And the top quarterbacks that are going to separate scoring wise, the top big 4, you should always try and be getting them. So I think if you can get a solid deal in the startup to get one of those types of guys, I think that is always worth doing, because in the end of the day, like, even if you give up a first round pick next year, like, they're valuable, but they are rookies that could be nothing at the end of the day. And yes, you might eventually accidentally give up a pick that could have been like a Jamar Chase, but it's very unlikely. It's more likely that it's just another guy on your team. He starts half your weeks. He doesn't really help you win a championship. And that's what Dynasty is supposed to be about, is winning championships.
I like that. I like that. I'm glad you're in that. Seems like we share the same beliefs on picks and how much of a crapshoot they really are. And if used well, they're the biggest weapon in Dynasty. They're the biggest asset you can.
Yep.
If you find that one person or those two people in your league, that just notice that they're always at the bottom as well.
Yeah.
I always notice the people that hoard picks are always hoarding picks.
Yep.
I don't know. Anyway, back to this draft right here. I see that, taking Brock Bowers in the first round, it's going to happen. Scarcity. He's just, he's very young, super stud, very, very limited opportunities around him to get targets. It's him and Trey Tucker. And if you can call Trey Tucker anything, I like him. Just full disclosure, I do like him. But how can you rebound? That's the thing. I always find when you take a position like a tight end early, you got to rebound. You cannot mess up your next 4 picks because you've already taken a position that nobody else is going to take at least until McBride's off 4 or 5 picks later. But then we get a big gap. So how could you rebound from that?
I think if you're taking an elite tight end early, you should do what the computer ended up doing, and you should be going for win now pieces, stud running backs. You should try and get a stud quarterback if you can on the wraparound of the 3-4 turn, because tight end, unless you're playing like a major tight end premium scoring format, tight end doesn't overly matter unless you have the guy. And Bowers in most seasons probably will be the guy. It's probably just going to flip back and forth between him and McBride in most seasons. So I like both of them early, but you do have to understand that you're going to miss out on a wide receiver 1, and those do not grow on trees. And frankly, I bet that Brock Bowers probably costs 75% of what any of the other picks in the first round cost to go trade for.
So you think okay. That's a good way to say it. I don't think about it like that. I think about if you grab a tight end early, you can't go tight end then quarterback. So the computer did was you said perfect, right? Because they didn't go ahead and grab that quarterback, making their positional players the scarcity on the roster. They made it the quarterback. So you have to pick one or the other. I actually do like grabbing my tight end early these days, and I'll tell you why. I'm too damn old, and I got too many leagues to be streaming tight ends all my life.
Yep.
I always tell my people this that listen to me. This is a very good analogy I use. Back in the day when I was poor, I would drive used vehicles that would break down every week, and I would spend my weekends breaks just fixing the car.
Yep.
And then once I got a good job and I made money, I bought a new car. In that time that I spent fixing that car, now I could do other things. So now no longer am I searching the waiver wires and searching trade offers to then trade for a tight end. I can go upgrade or do other things with my other leagues that need attention. So I think as my old age and as I have limited time with my phone these days because of kids, I've been grabbing tight ends super early just as I'm good for the next 10 years, y'all. Leave me alone. Is this league really going to last 10 years anyway? How often do they in the first place? Yeah. So that's kind of how I've been eyeing tight ends lately. Is that crazy? Am I crazy?
No, especially for Bowers and McBride specifically, you're betting that it's basically just going to be Travis Kelce for the next 6 to 10 years. Just kind of every season they're up in the top 10 to 15 of total overall fantasy scoring. They're the tight end 1 or the tight end 2 every single season. You basically need 3 tight ends on your roster, 1 to cover the bye, 4 Bowers and McBride, and then 1 to cover the injury for the guy that's covering your bye. So I definitely see the value in it. I think the top tier of players has gotten more full, where I don't think Bowers is a first round pick anymore. I do think he's more of an early second round, mid second round type player. And then McBride's pretty much right there as well now. So I think it's mostly just going off of 2025 ADP. I wouldn't take it at 111, but I do think like going early with one of those two is valuable because there is really no question of like they're going to be great. It's just a question of how great.
Yep. Okay. So that being said, take my team away because I made the most mistakes. Because full disclosure, since I've been podcasting for over 5 years now, I have never successfully mock drafted and hosted a show. I just can't do both.
Yeah.
So take mine. I just get. I can't. So take mine away. Biggest mistake of this draft, and then we'll wrap it up.
I'm just gonna say, and this is a very unpopular opinion, but I've talked about it before on this show. I do not like taking running backs in a startup because they are, unless I'm trying to win that season in the startup, running backs are win now pieces that are only valuable in the moment. They almost never retain value. The ones that gain value you can get very cheap, very late. And I just don't really like to invest in them early. So when you look at my dynasty ranks, I don't have any running backs go in the first round in Superflex. Even in non-Superflex, they go at like the very back end of the first for me. Like I understand that Bijan and Gibbs are just great and they're going to be around for a long time, but I just don't like investing in running backs. I think, if Bijan, God forbid, were to tear something in his knee tomorrow, like he's out for the next year, when he comes back, there's no guarantee that he's as good as he was before. There's no guarantee that the Falcons would use him in the same way that they did before. When wide receivers get injured, the only thing that's stopping them is their bodies coming back. But as long as they're not old, they're used in the same way they were before. They still earn targets in the same way that they did before the injury for the most part. Running backs can just completely change overnight with major injuries. You look at J.K. Dobbins, you look at Javonte Williams, like these guys were studs. They were like running back 2 and 3 in dynasty ranks after their rookie season, and they both just fell off a cliff because of injuries. So I'm very anti running back early unless I'm trying to compete and know I can compete in the draft.
It is weird, man. Fork in the road. Like I was in a very high stakes dynasty startup this year. Very high stakes. My most expensive, probably more. That league cost more than all my other leagues probably combined.
Yeah.
And it was they did a snake 3rd round reversal because we had a vote.
Yeah.
Auction lost a vote because I play with a bunch of. I'm not gonna say the word. But so we ended up doing a snake, and it's like I go, okay, it's a big league, and if you win, it's like big money for Christmas or big money for whatever, or big money to pay all your leagues next year. So I'm like, I took Gibbs 1st round. Going, I'm gonna win now this year. I loaded up my team. CD, bro, they all got hurt. Like CD got hurt early, as you know. Like all my players that I thought I took Rashee Rice. I had to wait for him to come back. At the time, he wasn't suspended. At the time, everything happened. So when you do say I'm going to try to win this league now, by the way, I am almost last place. 4th last, I guess you'd say. So like I have no chance. I'm already eliminated from the playoffs. So I took Jahmyr Gibbs first, going, I'm gonna try to win this. Dak Prescott. I had a really good team to win this year. They all sucked. Except for Dak. So now I'm stuck with Jahmyr Gibbs. Now I'm going, I gotta rebuild. And guess what, guys? Jahmyr Gibbs is on the block. I'm looking to trade him because I already know I need to rebuild already after year 1. And I've never done that in a dynasty. I'll never do it again because I have more success building through receivers and tight ends than I do building through the running back position. Because guess what? What did Jahmyr Gibbs do for me? I'm in 4th last place.
Yep.
That's how I feel about running backs too.
Like you basically had to have drafted Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey, or else you're not winning year 1.
Yep.
If you drafted in a startup this year. So it is fickle. Fantasy's not the same year over year, but yeah, I just think I have always preached go 0 RB in startups, especially if you think the league will be around for multiple years. If you do take running back, take old cheap and young cheap, and then just see what you can cobble together with some second and third round picks. So,
yeah,
all right. Well, Josh, thanks for joining on short notice. Thanks for mocking with us. It was a lot of fun. It has definitely been an interesting look into what 2026 might look like. It's not perfect, but it's certainly a glimpse into how the tiers are going to move and how the players have moved so far. Any closing thoughts from you before we head out of here?
Yeah, just a reminder, everybody, you could check us out on our Discord, chat.fantasynowplus.com. Make sure you check out our website, fantasynowplus.com. You can find all of Tim's wonderful work. Will, listen, we have smart people that work here. I'm not one of them, but we have a ton of smart people that work here, and they post a ton of smart, interesting content on our website. That's where the gold is. So go ahead and check that out. That's where all of our rankings are. Everything you need to know about this show. So wonderful show, Tim. I'm glad that I was finally to come invited on a Saturday. Now, if you enjoy wrestling, professional wrestling, stay here on the Finstock Sports Network, because I'm going to change shirts, brother, because you think I wear button-ups on a wrestling shirt? Hell no. We're going to be talking Brock Lesnar's top 6 rivalries of all time, as well as since War Games is coming up, we are doing a simulation of our War Games teams, mine versus him. We're going to put it in ChatGPT, and we're going to have some fun. So, Tim, do you like pro wrestling?
I do. I don't watch it as much just because it's hard to keep up with all the weekly content, but I still come in for the premium live events. So I'm keeping pace, but not watching weekly. So
right on, brother. But yeah, great show. Please invite me back, because I love talking Dynasty. It's just, we got to stay in our lanes. And if I can talk Dynasty, I would love to. So anytime you could have me on.
Absolutely. We'll definitely have to do some 3-man pods in the off season and get some extra folks on to get some unique opinions. Alrighty, folks, that is going to do it for us today. This has been Dynasty in 30. Thanks so much, and we will see you soon. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.